Well, happy birthday.
Oh, no.
It's Jack's birthday just passed. It was yesterday on Wednesday.
Yeah, I'm already looking at nursing homes.
Caskets.
Yeah, Amazon's already coming out with suggestions for wheelchairs and catheters right now. Old man.
19 years old.
Ugh.
And he can't even smoke a cigarette.
Nope, not anymore.
No, not anymore.
Crazy laws,
Crazy.
Can't do meth like I used to be able to.
No, well, I don't think. We got some interesting topics for us today. We're going to be going ham. We're going to get not really political.
No.
We're just talking about
We're just gonna be moral.
People.
Our moral compasses.
Our moral compasses.
Yeah.
We're going to talk about that right after we roll the intro.
Roll the
music.
intro.
Warning, the following pre-recorded podcast will blow your mind. Broadcasting to Anchor, YouTube, Spotify, Google Play, and Apple Podcasts. Recorded in Cole's parents' basement. This is Small YouTube Channels Talk.
Welcome to the Small YouTube Channels Talk podcast. My name is Cole
James Anderson. I'll be your host, and this is my co-host,
Jack Xavier Unruh.
Hey.
Had to give you the southern accent.
Yeah, South Dakota boys.
South Dakota boys, even though we're really far north, honestly.
Yeah.
We're not in the south at all.
No.
But we're like a south state for like the north, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah. For the south state of the Midwest.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Yeah.
Anyways, Jack's birthday passed. Everyone give Jack some well wishes. Life comes at you so fast.
It just, it's flying. I remember, when I was just being born. I remember it like it was yesterday. I just coming out that womb was a whole another experience.
Oh, was it?
It was crazy. Crazy times, I tell you.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Welcome to Small
YouTube Channels. Oh, wow. That was interesting. Okay.
Basically, you guys, today we've got a topic. Prepared to be
blown away.
Yes.
If you guys remember last week, we are saving this subject for this week.
Yes.
We talked about that. We're going to talk about some toxic people in the filmmaking community.
Yes.
How at first, honestly, I never thought that there were honestly toxic people in the filmmaking community. Because everyone that I've met with physically, talked to in person, have pretty much have had like good experiences with. I've never really had any extreme, really horrible situations with people, but you go on Facebook, and you join some of these groups, or you even look in comments of YouTube videos or stuff. There's a lot of toxic people.
Yes.
One example that you've experienced, that we actually have both experienced, I want to say, is posting something for a promotion in like a Facebook group.
Yep.
And then trying to get constructive criticism. And sometimes you do get good constructive criticism.
Yeah.
Because there are good people.
There's good and bad in every profession.
Right. And then there's bad.
Yeah, and then there's
but the bad sticks out a lot. It sticks out a lot.
It does. It's sharp. But the thing is, like, obviously there's good and bad in every profession.
Of course. Yeah.
In my experience, though, I have found a lot of filmmakers / photographers / people in this part of the I don't know, how do you call it, the workforce.
Sure.
To be very, very know-it-all, for sure.
Oh my goodness, that's the worst.
That's probably their biggest quality, is that they're know-it-all.
The worst personality is the know-it-all.
Yeah, and so then they want to like bash other people down for like, they know everything about filmmaking.
Right.
Like you should be using a 22 millimeter, something like, not like. These like people, like when I posted that thing on Facebook, they're like, yeah, your audio could have been way better on that. It's like, well,
yeah, we know that, but like, can you tell me how? Give me some constructive criticism there
instead of acting like a dick about it. It's like,
every person that I've talked to that has had like a good attitude, they're like, yeah, Slick Trigger was like a good movie for what you guys had, and then they'll tell me like what was wrong with it, and of course I 100% agree because I know what is wrong with it,
right?
And they're not like, oh well, this is how I would have done it. Exactly. It's just like they're just kind of giving you. It's more of like a hey, maybe try this next time.
Exactly. And so that's like the thing. Like when you and I collaborate, like if I made something, or if you made something, we'd be like, like constructive criticism
Right.
to each other. Like it's literally just trying to help each other.
Exactly.
But these people online, and I've met some in person actually.
Have you?
I have. Actually, so I was shooting at a wedding for my side job or whatever.
Oh, I can't wait to hear this.
And so I was the video guy for the DJ. Okay. I wasn't the video guy for the wedding couple.
Sure.
But I was supposed to get some footage for them.
Right.
I wasn't like their official photography guy or whatever.
Right.
But, so they had 2 actual photographers for the wedding itself. Okay. Now, one of the guys comes up to me and he goes, he's got his camera bag, he's got all his things hanging off his belt and whatever.
Right.
And he's like,
he's done it. He's done it before.
He's like,
ready.
he's a filmmaker. You can tell, And so he walks up to me. He's like, so where are you going to be filming? And I was like, I'm kind of just going to be everywhere, getting all sorts of different angles. He's like, wrong answer. You will stay behind me the whole time and you'll do exactly what I tell you. Understood? And I was like,
whoa.
And he's like, all right.
Is this someone you were working with?
No, I wasn't working with them. He was on his own. He's like a photographer guy. And I was like,
he was doing stuff for the wedding. You were doing stuff for like the event.
For the DJ.
Yeah.
And so like I was like, and then so his partner,
of course you don't want to get in the guy's way, obviously, but like that's not the way that you should tell someone.
No, and like it's in as opposed to attacking the person,
right?
You do it in a way of like
hey, just so you know, maybe stick behind me some of the time. Try not to get in my way. Like I don't want to like ruin your thing, but like I've got a job to do, and and then it's a lot more respectable when people.
That's what I'm saying. it's like
it's respect. It's treating someone like a
that's
human
right.
being.
There's a certain level of respect, and a lot of filmmakers I've found have this attitude that they're better than other people. Like, when I posted something on this Facebook film group, they're like, it was the Gorilla trailer, actually.
Was it the Filmmakers Forum group?
Yep, it was Filmmakers Forum. And
guys, don't join that group. It's honestly, don't join any Facebook group. It's always full of toxic people.
The only reason I'm in it is because it's so funny how toxic they are at this point. I don't even care.
True.
But then they're like, so I posted it, and basically Gorilla, if you guys haven't seen it, which you should have, it's about us as like no budget filmmakers, like trying to make videos and stuff. It's really funny. So I posted the trailer. I'm like, here's our trailer, you guys. It's gonna be really fun. Somebody posted, already done before. It's not funny to steal ideas. Like, okay,
what? That's not.
No, what?
No, what? No, that's not at all. It's like, what are you talking about?
Yeah, I'm like, first of all, no. Second of all, let's not do that.
Yeah,
okay?
Jesus. Whoa.
I don't know.
A lot of people have relatively similar ideas, even if they don't know about the other idea.
Exactly.
Like one of the cliches being like a lot of short films start off with people waking up.
Yeah.
That's a big cliche. I don't think that people are copying each other because it's a really horrible, overdone cliche. It's just a lot of people tend to think, oh, yeah, I'm going to start my short film by this person waking up.
Yeah.
So they're every day in the life. Yeah. But that's not an interesting way to start it.
Yeah.
And for us, it was like, oh, yeah, a mockumentary about filmmakers. And what do we know best? Filmmaking.
Exactly.
So why not make a mockumentary about it? It would be accurate. Yeah, it'd be goofy. It'd be funny. And then,
well, this isn't professional. You didn't use the right lens or color grading. Shut up.
We're being fun. Filmmaking is about having fun.
It's about fun. That's what it's about. It's about entertainment.
Yeah.
It's entertainment.
Entertainment. No, like Casey Neistat has been quoted of saying, whenever he made money, he wasn't using it as an opportunity to make money. He was using that money to make movies. He never made money to make money. He made money to make movies. And we're the same way.
Really?
Yeah.
Does he make movies?
Well, he in like a different sort of way, different than ours. Less narrative, more of like a everything. He does documentaries and stuff.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, I mean, but like for the same reason for us, we're doing this because it's fun for us, and we want to do it for the rest of our lives.
Exactly.
And I don't want to sit at a fucking office desk for the rest of my life and work to the fucking 9 to 5 every day. No, I want to travel the world.
Exactly. And we're doing it because we're having fun with it, and like we talked about this all last week about like how it brings people together and it's so much fun. And then there's people out there that are literally doing it for the money.
Exactly.
And they're like, this is what they want to do as like their career, but they hate it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's like, then don't do it.
You can't get anywhere doing something if it's just for money.
Yeah.
honestly,
Mhm.
because then you're gonna get tired of it. You know, you know, every single job that I've ever had, I've had it. I had it just because I needed money, and those never last long because I'm not having fun.
Yeah.
But filmmaking, I've been doing this for years, and I don't make money. Do you think I would have kept doing it if I didn't like it?
Exactly. Yeah, no kidding. Like, you can tell you love something when you stick with it through not the good times, but
Yeah.
all
And we've had a lot of those not good times, you know.
for sure.
Yeah.
And you know, like we talked about last week, all the failed projects, all the screw ups. Like,
Exactly.
if you don't love it, you're gonna quit.
And I mean, we're gonna run into toxic people no matter what. If we
sure.
find a way to make this like our job, you know, we're gonna run into toxic people, and that's
Oh,
just
for
gonna
sure.
happen.
Yeah, for sure.
But hopefully, we can either convert them to not be toxic, or you know, kick them off the boat. We don't want toxic people on our sets. You know, that just ruins the mood.
Get on the train or get the out of the way.
Exactly.
Am I right?
I am tired of like toxic people in most every, you know, it's always the know-it-all personality is the one that I hate most. And
that's the
sometimes I
most
feel
toxic.
like I can be that personality, and I'm trying really hard not to be, because with my sister, she really wants to be a photographer, but she doesn't have a lot of the skill, or like she doesn't know a lot like about it, and I'm nothing close to a professional photographer. But I know everything that a professional photographer would know. Maybe not as much, but like most everything.
Need to know. Yeah.
And whenever I'm trying to teach her or like, you know, make her better, she's always like, well, I'm the one who's trying to do this professionally. You're just trying to be a videographer. And then it's like, oh, did I say something wrong? Was I coming off in a bad way? Or is she being toxic, not being able to like not being able to take criticism? Because it can go both ways, you know?
So I think at the root of all toxicness is two things. It's or a know-it-all personality, or a lack of respect for others, you know.
Yeah.
And like there, you have to realize that, and reasonableness. I meant to say reasonableness and respect. That's what it comes down to. You need to be reasonable because, you know, with this whole late night show thing, drama that we talked about a couple episodes back, there's people that just aren't reasonable.
No,
you know, and they're not open to like, oh, okay, I can see that. Why you would think that? You know what I mean? They're just like spewing out garbage.
They're just immediately because they don't like it. And they're not giving it a chance, you know?
Yeah. Exactly.
If someone's going to give me criticism, but I don't necessarily like them, I'm still going to hear it because, one, they could be right. And two, what if they are someone that like actually does know more than me, you know?
Exactly. You guys got to be open to...
Right. Like we were talking last episode, or even a couple episodes before, you got to surround yourself with people that are smarter than you.
Mm-hmm.
And smarter people that disagree with you, because that's the best way to get anything done.
I don't know why you're hanging around me then.
Oh, you're just being humble. But I mean, honestly, like it's mostly that, because you got to find people that have different ideas than you, that
For
are
sure.
creatively,
different flavored.
Right? Yeah. Basically.
Yeah, which is, you know, I mean, like, if we just had everybody around us that, like, you know, thought the exact same way, like, had the same idea about everything, it's like, you'd get the same product over and over, be bland, nobody would get any inspiration, and we'd quit really soon.
Oh, yeah.
But the fact that we have different flavors and different ideas and different concepts about how to do things, we can build on those different concepts and come up with whole new things, you know what I mean?
Yeah. So I feel like you look at projects like Slick Trigger Prior, there have been 3 attempts at making that come to fruition. Would you say first time we got 2 episodes done, and it was supposed to be like another 10 episode event like the original was, and then, you know, everybody's stuff happened, and then we couldn't finish it, and then next go around, we had a majority of the same people, maybe a few different actors, but the exact same thing happened, you know, schedules, and I didn't really diverse the cast the third time. When I tried to do it again, we never even got to shooting the third time. I just wrote it. And that's a big case of like trying to treat something with the amount of respect when people don't necessarily respect the project. Not saying that like people in the project didn't respect it, but there was definitely not as much love put towards it as like I put towards it, you know?
For sure.
Because, you know, we had, you know, Dawson's a busy guy. Aaron's a busy guy. Oh, we have a lot of, and then I had to switch, you know, I had to switch actors, and then, you know, we were doing it in like the middle of the summer, and people like to do stuff in the summer. They don't want to, unless there's some sort of benefit from it. This was my project. This wasn't like something you had done. People know that they're going to have fun with you because they've worked with you before, but that was like one of my first go-arounds. So kept running into the same problem. Luckily, I don't have that problem anymore. But it's just running into the same outcome over and over and over because of people's behaviors never changes.
Yeah, you gotta get like, especially when you don't have a budget, like, and we can't pay people, like, they have to be willing to go to this at least a higher level of an extent to achieve the goal of the project.
Right.
You know, and maybe not at the director's, the writer's level, you know, but as long as they have enough to want to do the project, then you'll get it done. And that's the most frustrating thing is like when that doesn't happen, you know what I mean?
Yeah. And it sucks.
Yeah. And also like, you know what's really good though about the people that we do our stuff with is none of them have that toxic know-it-all mentality.
Oh, not a single one.
That's why our shoots go so well. Like nobody's like a know-it-all. Like,
and anyone that we have, we've either in some way, switched them so they weren't toxic, so they understood it, or kicked them out.
Exactly. Like, and like you and me, like we're just laid back when we're on set. You know what I mean? Like it's
like, I mean, we're not up here.
Oh no!
But we make it. We make everyone else feel laid back.
We're like a duck.
Right.
We're calm on the surface, but underneath we're kicking as hard as we can.
Exactly. Yeah. That's actually a perfect analogy for that.
You know what I mean?
You want people to be calm around you, even when you're swimming against the current.
That's right.
And that's what we're doing majority of the time. Late night booming. You had to just sit back and hope that everything behind the scenes went as it should. And dear Lord, did I try my best, because you were like the top half of the duck and I was the bottom half of the
That's
duck.
right.
You were like, oh yeah, everything's fine. You're on stage. Oh wow, this is great guest. Wow, thank you. And I'm like running back and forth between the green room and the main room. I'm checking with the cameras, kind of the audio. Oh, okay, like this whole thing. Like that's
why it works so well.
That's why it works so well. Yeah.
So assemble a team if you're looking for tips.
Basically,
assemble a team of people that are different than you,
that are trustworthy
even if they're not that different from you. I mean, it's not a big deal, but
you'll be surprised. You'll learn a lot about them.
Yeah, if you got the passion for it and you have a level of respect for other people, don't be a toxic filmmaker. Don't go online and try to get. You're not gonna like make yourself famous by bashing other people's projects.
Exactly.
You know what I mean?
That's gonna, as a filmmaker, you should be networking all the time. You should be trying to get people to want to watch your shit.
Exactly.
And if I saw you on make a comment on a forum that was not nice, I might not want to watch your film. Stuff like that.
Exactly. Like and encourage one another, because you have no idea how far like the littlest bit of encouragement goes. You know what I mean? Like the tiniest stuff. I was writing a script for this movie coming up, and Trevor and Cole James Anderson are helping collab, helping me make some fine tweaks on it. And Trevor just said, like, this dialogue here is really good. And that was just like that little thing was like super encouraging. I was like, oh, okay, well, like I feel confident in going forward, And if you go online and you see somebody's project and you say something mean, like this is trash, like that's going to do a lot more damage.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And if you say like, I like the way you did this, maybe you could work on this. That's going to go a lot farther than just trashing on their project. You know what I mean?
Right. Because there's negative and positive ways of constructive criticism. You could say the audio is trash, Or you could say, hey, I really like the way that you shot this scene. I think you should spend a little bit more time on audio.
Exactly.
And the scene would be a lot better. And then they'd be like, hey, thanks for the criticism.
Yeah.
And then you won't come off as an absolute asshole.
Yeah. So, this is actually bringing something to my mind.
Sure.
Have you ever seen the movie Whiplash?
Yes. Oh my God. That's one of my favorite movies of all time.
Okay, good. This is crucial.
Yeah,
for
I'm
this
so glad
next
that you've seen that
talking
movie now. Oh my God. Miles Teller in that film?
Yeah.
And J.K. Simmons?
It's such a good.
Holy crap. I'm so glad
movie.
that you've seen that movie.
No,
now.
I was such a risk saying that because I didn't. Well, I wasn't a risk, but I was just wondering if you say that because
that's like number 3 favorite movie of all time.
Oh, it's so good.
It's so good.
But anyways, what this conversation's made me think of is
Go out
like
and watch Whiplash.
Yeah, pause the thing, watch Whiplash, and come back.
Yes.
So basically, though, the main guy, J.K. Simmons, he has a quote in the movie that is, "There's no more dangerous phrase in the English language than good job." Now, this question I've been wondering a lot with. This movie is really great at making me question this. Like,
Sure.
Obviously, yes, motivation is... failure is the greatest motivator. Like,
of course,
from failure, like, you want to prove that you can do something. You know
In the
what I
right
mean?
person, at least. I feel like failure, as long as you have the right attitude about it, yeah.
So, like, if somebody told me, like, this is trash, like, would that put me down and, like, make me not want to do it anymore? Or would that motivate me to do it better than I've ever done it before?
Right.
And so... I'm just wondering, what's your thought on that? Like, how far, like, is saying good job, like, complimenting, like, what's your thoughts on this? Can we always be getting better, and should we always be pushing for that, or should we, take some pride in the little things sometimes?
Oh, yeah, this is, man, that's tough. I do think you should always be striving to improve. I do think that you should constantly, at every moment in your life, be trying to be better. And I think that that is the best way to live, because then you always have something to look forward to, especially if it's your passion. You're working on your passion. That's what you're trying to get better at. That's great. On the opposite side, though, it is good to, I don't want to say take pride, because, like, you shouldn't, you can be, you can, oh, fuck, I'm trying to, like,
trying to put into words what's in your head.
This is, be prideful, but don't be so prideful that you come off as like a dick,
Yeah.
Be humble about it, Like, be aware that you still have stuff to do. Like, be prideful as long as you are aware that you still have stuff you can work on.
Right. Like, so there's 2 different ways you can get motivated. Obviously, there's the negative and the positive. And I just said, like, when I was told that the dialogue for that scene was good, like, that motivated me just as much, if not even more, than if somebody said that something was bad with the film, Because it does motivate me when somebody tells me that something's wrong. Like, Slick Trigger, obviously, like, audio, I heard, we put it on whatever, the Filmmakers Forum, and people were saying that things were crappy about, like, the trailer and stuff like that. And, like, that really motivated me to, like, for future projects, like, okay, well, you know what? So that can motivate you, but which is better? Can there be a balance of both? Should there be both? Should there be one? Should there be the other?
I have found that self-criticism always motivates me more than if someone else is giving me criticism. Like, if I decide that something's bad, that will give me more criticism than if someone else tells me that it's bad. Maybe it's just because sometimes you can't always trust other people's opinion. Sometimes people are kind of mean about the way that they put it forward, even if they're trying to be nice about it. But in my experience, when I watch Slick Trigger, okay, tangent, by the way, I was in a voice call with Brandon Friesen last night, the guy who made our intro last night, and he said that literally every conversation that I have ever had, I always bring up Slick Trigger. I always bring up Slick Trigger in some sort of way. I thought that was really funny. And I said, especially in the podcast, every single episode we've talked about Slick Trigger.
I don't think there's been an episode where we have not said the word Slick Trigger at least 10 times.
Exactly, yeah. Anyways, with Slick Trigger, or even previous projects, I will watch them myself, and I will self-analyze. And I have done this to every single thing that I've ever made. And I will analyze what I did right, what I did wrong, what I could improve on, and that will give me more motivation than someone telling me, "Oh, that wasn't that great," or "Oh, that was good, but this could have made it better." I definitely like more group sessions when it's kind of like a group discussion, but if it's just like one or two people telling me and there's no response from me, then it doesn't feel motivating at all.
Yeah.
I do definitely think that the good jobs are extreme motivation, because like all 3 times people walking out of those theaters saying, "Oh my, good job on the movie, that movie was so good." I've never felt so more validated in my life,
For sure.
because and I didn't even make the movie. I was the
Yeah.
assistant director. I was a supporting lead. And for people to walk up to me and be like, "Good job," I'd be like, "Hell yeah, good
Yeah.
job. I feel great. I'm gonna go make another movie."
Exactly.
Bitch.
That's what I'm saying. Like, it makes you want to do it again.
Yeah.
And it motivates you to keep going. Whereas, like, this is trash. Why are you doing this? Makes you think that you can't do it. You know what I mean? It's like, but to the same side of the coin, there's so many different ways of looking at it.
Honestly.
If you truly love it, you'll be motivated by everything, I guess.
Yeah.
Because, I mean, we've both been motivated by a good job, and we've both been motivated by this sucks. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Do you watch your old stuff and reanalyze it? I'm very guilty of watching my old stuff like religiously, just to like I'm constantly reanalyzing of like what I could do better. Do you do that?
In all honesty, I don't. I'm extremely focused on the upcoming projects right now. I have before, like when I was watching Slick Trigger, like I never watch it for the sole purpose of analyzing. Maybe I should, honestly, though. But I
feel like that was a good thing about the commentary track, is that was like kind of analyzing it as a group.
Yeah.
That was a really good experience for us to kind of realize. We realized stuff about the film that we never even thought about.
Sure. And every time we watch it, we notice more and more. Like when we watch it, even when we were watching it back in the movie theater, like I was like, man, we could have done a lot better with these things. You know what I mean? And so, yeah, I mean, I should probably start doing that going forward, because I want our new movies to be as good as they can possibly be. You know what I mean? Like I want them to be perfect.
Yeah. I want them to be perfect too.
Yeah. I'm not going to settle for, you guys don't have a budget, we know that. Like I want to make it. Like I don't care if we don't have a budget. Like it's going to be perfect. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
We're
working with some crazy concepts too.
Do you think that you and me need to ramp up our J.K. Simmons on these new films with our actors and our crew?
You mean like get like better like performances?
Like do you think we need to be harder as a directors?
Oh. Yes and no. To the people that can take it.
Sure.
Because
you got to know your
Have
crew.
you seen The Shining?
I have.
Shelley Duvall, who played Jack Torrance's wife in that film, there's the scene towards the end where Jack is very slowly chasing her up this very big staircase, and she's like screaming and she's like waving a knife at him. They did that 127 times. There was 127 takes of that one scene.
No
because Stanley Kubrick just kept pushing her because he wanted her to be just absolutely destroyed. And for her to be destroyed off screen, it helped bring that on screen. So he was just kind of like, like manipulating her. And you might look at Stanley Kubrick after knowing that fact and be like, what an asshole, right? But there's an interview with Shelley Duvall where she's like, yeah, I'm still friends with Stanley Kubrick. I know why he did that stuff to me. And you know what? The movie was better from it. So
Really?
like, as long as a person understands that for the right reason why we're pushing them, I think that yes.
Wow.
But like, if we have like a new actor on set, 100% treat them with like they're a fucking like a fragile piece of fucking something.
Exactly.
That like you can't break it,
Yeah.
Like especially with like kids, you don't want to be a fucking asshole to a kid actor.
For sure.
But with someone who can take it, like someone who we worked with before, maybe that's the better way to like get them into character.
Because out of respect, I mean, we've been talking about respect. Out of respect for them, obviously you treat them nice,
Right.
but also out of respect for them, you want to see them perform at their best, and you want other people to see their best performance. So when it comes
and who
to
knows better what the performance could be than the director?
exactly. So when it comes to on screen, if it was a really hard day of filming and like the director is just pushing them, but they can look at it on the screen and say, "That's gold.
Yeah,
That's totally worth it."
like
to
if
me.
you would have turned to me on the interrogation day, and you would have been like, "Cole, your dad is dead, and Cyrus killed him." Act. I would have been like, "Fuck."
Yeah,
I'd be like,
for
"Shit,
sure.
okay, let's
yeah,
go."
yeah, for sure. Yeah, but like, and that's another thing. Like, Quentin Tarantino is really good at. I was watching an interview with Jamie Foxx talking about Django Unchained.
Sure.
And he said Quentin Tarantino was hard on set. So, like, one of the first days of filming, Jamie was out there, and he was like, you know, trying to be cool, you know,
Right.
Like, and after like a minute, Quentin's like, Jimmy, can I talk for you a second? Can I talk to you for a second?
That's like really good Quentin Tarantino impression.
He brought him
Sorry.
into the back room and he's like, what was that? You are a slave, okay? You need to act like a slave. You need to leave your Rolls Royce out in the parking lot, okay? Because when you're in here, you're not acting like a cool guy, okay? You're a slave, okay?
Holy shit.
And he like went off on him. Like, he's like, all right, let's get back out there. And so they went back out, and he said from that point on, he knew what kind of movie he was into. You know what I mean? And so it's like, he had to do that to bring out what he wanted in the film, because you have a vision and you have to do what it takes to get that vision.
Right.
And people have to understand that.
But Jamie Foxx can handle that, you know.
For sure.
Actors tend to
'Cause
be
he's a professional.
fragile beings, but them being fragile also kind of helps the fact that like just the right amount of pressure can get you to where you want to be.
Yes.
Exactly.
And you can't overdo it.
Yeah, you can't, and you shouldn't.
Yeah.
But there is like an art to it, I feel like.
For sure, there's a balance.
There's a scene. Did you watch Barry?
I watched the first episode.
So yeah, in the first episode, the like Barry like walks in on like this performance that's happening on like a stage, and this girl's giving this performance and it's not that good, and the director, he like cuts it off and he goes to her and he's like, "What do you want?" He's like, "You want to be like this, you want to be this girl in Hollywood, what do you want to make it, and you can't even do this scene." And then she like fucking gets pissed at him and she starts going off, and then he's like, "Stop, use it." And she's like, "Holy shit, he's a genius." So he made her mad to help her use that for the scene. That's perfect.
Exactly.
Because then they respect each other. Because then he turns to her after the scene and he goes, "I'm so sorry. You know I had to do it. You know I had to get you to that place." And she's like, "Thank you so much."
Exactly. Yeah. And, you know, like even for, so I'll use an example. So like in basketball last year, our coach, Coach Fechner, best coach I ever had. But he was the hardest coach I've ever had.
Sure.
He would yell at you if you messed up the tiniest bit. He would give very, very few good jobs. He was J.K. Simmons from Whiplash. Like literally, I think of him when I watch that movie. And so like he'd yell at me and like he would like, you know, scream at practice. He'd stop practice, call you out in front of everyone at practice. But at the end of the year,
but it's the thing of like you hate him, but you like still want his respect
exactly.
at the same time.
And so you're working hard to do right because
you're like, "Fuck you. I'm gonna show you how good I am," and then you show them how good you are, and then they're like,
"I love you,"
and then you finally get that good job, and you're like, "Holy crap!"
Exactly. And then literally, he like told me, like he's pulled me aside before, and he's like, "I'm sorry I had to do that too, but did that, but like." He's like, "You see how that helped, right?"
Yeah.
And like, so like he's literally the scene from Barry, like happened in real life. And I was like, "Whoa!"
You're like, "Holy crap!"
Yeah. So it's like, but I don't know, because like I think really, Whiplash is such a deeper movie than you first perceive, because like it really asks the question of
how far can you go?
How far, and should you just? Is there a stopping point? Is there not a stopping point? Like it raises so many questions. Like, how hard can you be? Should you be as hard as you like? I don't know. You know,
it's rough.
I
don't think that there will ever be a right answer. I think like there is. It's different for everybody. You know.
Oh yeah.
Some people you shouldn't push. Some people you can push.
That's what makes it hard.
Yeah.
Because we've had people that, Eddie. I pushed him a lot. Back when we were
push
little.
Eddie way
I
too
push
much.
him way more than we push him way more than anyone else.
Yeah.
And sometimes that's led to hurt feelings and people getting upset and like.
But when he deals with it, though.
But when he deals with it and uses it, then we get what we want, and
Exactly.
it's awesome. And at the end of the day, it was worth it.
And unfortunately, you do cross paths. You do have those moments where, you feel bad about what you said because you're like, oh, I'm sorry, I was just trying to help.
Yeah.
And it's like, I'm sorry if I crossed,
Mm-hmm.
It's there's a line with everybody. It's different.
And you got to know. That's the whole thing about being a good director, good coach, good teacher, whatever you are, is knowing the people that you're guiding. You have to know each one individually so you can kind of attack it in a different situation. It's not just a blanket for everyone that you can say, all right, this is going to work. You have to know how to bring out the best in each person, and that is the true quality of a good leader in teaching, directing, whatever it is.
And I especially like more so one-on-ones with actors than when I'm kind of like in front of everybody criticizing an actor, because you kind of want to be like you could do that if you do want to do the whole humiliation to get that kind of performance, you could do that. But for stuff that when you're trying not to like do that, it is better to kind of be like, hey, could you come over here? Hey, I think we should try this again. Maybe do this different. So then they don't feel embarrassed, because you don't want them to feel embarrassed if they shouldn't feel embarrassed,
Right. Yeah.
Because then that could work against them. But in the times where, hey, this is an embarrassing scene for the character. Hey, could you stop playing with your fucking lips? Okay, yeah, let's redo it. And then they'll feel like shit, and then they'll redo it, and then you'll be like, okay, great. Sorry I made you feel like shit.
Yeah, but we needed it.
Yeah, but we needed it. It's like you gotta use it smart. You gotta be smart about it.
Yeah.
Basically.
So take the time to know each person.
Yeah.
This is actually all like really fitting in.
It is.
With the topic of toxic people and constructive criticism.
It is.
You know what I mean?
It's very we're gonna talk about something a little bit more deep. When we come back, we're gonna go to an ad break really quick. We will be right back. Hey, Jack.
Yes, Quill James Anderson.
Have you ever wanted to make a podcast?
I've always wanted to make a podcast before.
Wow, that's great. Because if you haven't heard, Anchor is the easiest way to make a podcast.
Really?
Let me explain.
Tell me more, please.
It's free.
Wow.
The best option. If it's free, it's gonna be lit.
I'm a broke college kid. I don't got money.
There's creation tools that allow you to re-record and edit your podcast right from your phone or computer.
Sick.
Anchor will distribute your podcast for you, so it can be heard on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and many more. Not to mention, you can make money from your podcast with no minimum listenership. That means start off 0 listeners, and you can already get ads.
Wow.
Isn't that crazy?
That is probably the best news I've heard all day.
Dude, it's everything you need in a podcast to make a podcast, all in one. So, guys, if you want to make a podcast, download the free Anchor app or go to anchor.fm to get started. That's ANCHOR.fm to get started.
Wow. I'm going to go make me a podcast right now.
Welcome back.
What a great ad.
Yeah, thank you. It's the same one we've used since episode 2.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
That we recorded during episode 2?
Yeah, we haven't used a different one since.
Sick.
Yeah, isn't that nice?
That's awesome.
Yeah. Don't have to even worry about it. I'm honestly so happy because it makes my job really easy.
That's awesome, yeah.
So, we're going to have a conversation about grief in filmmaking. Let's start off like a little personal about it. Have you ever lost someone who you were relatively close to, like someone passed away or something like that?
Yes, several times.
Yes. Same. Have you used that in any sort of artistic medium before as like an outlet? Like those feelings?
So I didn't really get into like like the whole filmmaking thing. It's all been pretty recent.
Sure.
Like really getting
Yeah.
into it and using it as an outlet for
Right.
myself. So, and the people that I've lost, was kind of, that all happened like right before, you know? So I
Sure.
didn't really, I didn't really channel it into this outlet,
Sure.
the artistic outlet. Well, I guess like maybe if you count like, I'd play piano and stuff like that. But that was about the extent of it, you know?
Sure.
How about you?
I mean, I've definitely. Well, I don't want to. You say that you haven't been doing it that long. I feel like more so you just recently have been taking it more serious.
Yeah. Like,
Yeah.
So like, yeah, I've always been into it.
Right.
Like it's been a hobby, but now it's like I love it. You know what I
Right.
mean?
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. I guess from a similar perspective, I'd say probably the same. And I feel like in the future it could be definitely more so used as like an outlet, because right
Oh,
now
for
it's
sure.
just it's more used as like a. I mean, it's not like I'm going through anything crazy right now where that I need a creative outlet, but it is good to, you get, I don't know what goes on in your life. You get yelled at by someone or you get some shitty criticism, and it's good to just fall into like the world of like writing your new script or shooting this thing and stuff.
Yeah.
When we were shooting Slick Trigger, that was when I was having a lot of personal family problems. That was my creative outlet because there was, so much stuff that I didn't, I felt like I didn't have control over. And Slick Trigger, I felt like I had somewhat control over because, my input actually made it somewhere. And Reality Bleeding is supposed to be a movie about grief itself, about trauma and how you can recover from trauma or how you can let trauma completely overtake you. Which is kind of like the point of like one bad day of like really serious trauma can like change your life forever, and that's kind of like the whole grief thing too. There are some really great movies that have some really horrible things happen in them. I recently watched Top Gun. Have you ever seen Top Gun? Relatively clean movie, it's nothing really super crazy dramatic happens in it, and then all of a sudden Tom Cruise's partner like dies, gets killed, because when they ejected from like their jet, his head hit like the thing that's over them, snapped his neck, and he died instantly. And I was honestly, and I'd never seen that film before, and I was devastated watching that. I just watched it a couple days ago. I was like, holy crap.
Yeah.
It's like, that was really serious.
Yeah.
I watched this movie called Marriage Story on Netflix. I think it's nominated for a couple Oscars. That movie broke me. That's just a
Don't
movie.
spoil it because I haven't seen it.
I won't spoil it. I won't spoil it. But it's so goofy at the right parts because, if you want a movie to hit really well, you want those moments to hit you really hard, really fast.
Right.
So then it's like goofy 1 minute, and then it's like, oh, kind of serious, and then it's goofy again, and then it's like the fucking like the waterworks hit you, and you're like, Jesus.
Yeah.
Dude, you're gonna hate lawyers after watching that movie.
Have you ever seen The Boys?
No, that's on my watch list.
Okay, well, I won't spoil that then. I can't go there.
Oh, damn.
But okay, I'll just say that movie does a really good job of.
Is that a movie or a TV show?
Oh, or sorry,
Is
yeah,
that
it's a series.
the one on Amazon.
Yeah, I think so. I only saw the first episode, but it did a really, really good job of starting it off one way, and then an instant change and setting the tone for the rest of the series.
Right.
Which is pretty.
Oh
cool.
yeah, the opening scene.
Yeah.
Like the opening scene is like a really good example of
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know what I'm talking about? The street?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah. It like up until that point you're like, okay. And then it's like, oh,
whoa.
so this is what we're getting into. You know what I mean?
You're like, wow.
Yeah.
That was really strong, really fast.
Yeah. Big Hero 6.
Big Hero 6.
Have you seen that movie?
Oh my god. Yeah.
I watched that for the first time like 2 months ago.
Really?
Yeah. And like, okay, it's super corny and stuff, but like it's a good movie.
Yeah.
It's
it is.
like, and when that explosion happened, I was like,
my
whoa,
goodness.
what?
It's crazy. I love when movies kind of have those really horrible, traumatic moments.
When they really toy with your emotions.
Yeah. You haven't seen Midsummer, have you?
No.
Well, in the first 20 minutes, and this isn't a spoiler because they don't really use this. In the first 20 minutes, it's like the main character. She's like worried, and hey, skip ahead if you don't want to hear this. But in the first 20 minutes, it's like this girl. She's like worried because she hasn't heard back from her sister or family, and then it cuts to her boyfriend, and her boyfriend's hanging out with his friends, and he's like, yeah, you know, she's crazy. She's so worried about everything. Haha, well, that's crazy. And then he gets a call from her, and he goes, "Why are you crying? What's wrong?" And she got a call from the police department in her hometown, because her sister, who had some mental illness, suicided herself and her parents. So now the main character is the only person left in her family. So for her to like basically lose her sister and her parents at the same moment is like super traumatic. And it was like she like turned on the cars in the garage, and then like took like a funnel to like tape to like the exhaust, and then put it in the parents' room, so then they died in their sleep. And then she fucking put one on her mouth, so then she was forced to like, it's like super fucked up. It was like this crazy traumatic, like, okay, so I know what the movie's gonna be about. And like I've never experienced something that that insane, and not many people do in real life. But to know that it still happens is terrifying, that it could happen.
Yeah. Which is crazy
because it's like, realistic, you know?
You'd feel so like alone if something like that happened to you, because since it doesn't happen very often, you know, it's like, oh man, this sucks.
That would, it kind of brings like an immediate tone to a movie. Or even if it happens halfway through a movie, then you're like, oh, that's what this whole thing was leading up to.
Yeah. Yeah. And so I think that, you know, movies that are really good about doing that is like, they're really good at manipulating the audience with like, you know, bringing out feelings for a character. And once you can do that, then you can do whatever you want with that.
Oh yeah.
You know, and you can make them laugh. You can just crush them. That's what I love about writing. You know what I mean? Like, because we're both writers and directors. We're not just writers. We're not just directors. We can see the audience.
We can literally craft the story.
Exactly. That's why it's such a good like outlet. Like the other day when I was writing Shoreline, like I was literally just all into the movie, and like I like felt like I was there. You know, I was like, it's like reading a great book. Like, and I was making it. You know, and I was just like writing away, and I was like, oh, this is good. This is good. And I was like, oh man, that's cool. And then you get done, and you're like, let's do that again.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So I don't know.
It's perfect. Yeah. I really like exploring really, really crazy stuff. And especially even when it's not necessarily crazy, you know, like your film, it's a really good concept, but it's a really good concept in practice. But for you to actually, like, you're sitting here and you're like trying to figure out exactly how it should work, and then we're finding more ways that we can add to it. It's like how people want communism to work. It actually works.
Yeah.
But unfortunately, sometimes it doesn't. Cough, cough, communism, cough, cough. Because communism doesn't work, ladies and gentlemen. Sorry, I just made that really political all of a sudden. I was trying to find an analogy.
Instant communist.
Fuck all the libtards.
Yep. Trump 2020. All right, so what's your stance on abortion?
I don't want to go there. Yeah, let's go for
We're not going to get political today, but.
Jesus
that one sounds so quick.
Wow. What I'm trying to say is, like, with your concept, it looks like it's going to be really hard to pull off, but you're pulling it off really well. Somehow.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
Yeah. You're welcome.
And
somehow.
And
like I didn't expect you to be able to.
And your concept is like, the moment I heard about it, I was like, dude, this is going to be sick.
I just want to pull it off right, because I'm afraid that I'm not going to be able to.
That's the fun part, though.
Yeah.
Trying to figure it all out. Because, like, it's really hard. Like, there's times when you're like, oh, man, how's this going to work? Maybe it's not. And then you find that thing, and you're like, oh, this is going to be great. Because when you find it, you're like, oh, and then you, like, just go off on writing. You know, that's the best part.
It is honestly the best part.
And yeah, we talked about it a little last week, but the little little joys of all of it. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Even just finding those small things to make it work.
Mhm.
Yeah. I was sitting here a couple days ago with like fucking 6 papers laid out, just like trying to work out like the story structure, because I was like, all I have is a concept. I don't even have like what I want them to do. All I know is that I want this to happen. And I'm like, how exactly am I supposed to get that to happen though? So I'm like, okay, maybe I can base it off of something. I'll Google this. Oh, okay, let's use that. Okay, but now I gotta make a graph so that I understand it, and I'm fucking writing shit over here, and I'm like, oh, but not all the characters would go to it. Oh, so some of them are gonna bounce around. Oh, but this character's gotta go through all of them because he's gonna be the villain at the end. And it's like it's this whole thing, and I finally figured it out, and I'm like, holy shit.
Yeah.
This movie's gonna be lit.
Exactly. That's what I'm saying. Like
Yeah.
you know, if you can just like piece it all together, it's like building a car. You know,
I was up till 5 a.m. that night because I was on a roll. I was
Oh,
like,
man,
oh
you're
shit,
just
I'm
going
getting
off.
it, and I'm
Yeah,
getting it.
yeah.
Yeah, it's so satisfying when
And
you're
yeah,
able
you
to do
just-
that. And maybe you don't make films, but like you can relate to that in some way where, you know, maybe you're editing a YouTube video and you're like, oh, and then I can add this. Oh, and then but I need to switch this
Yeah,
out.
exactly.
Like for me with the documentary, I had about 45 minutes of it done, and it was me narrating it. And then I was like, you know what? This isn't that good. And I scrapped the entire thing and started re-editing it. And you know what? I like it way better than the original.
That's awesome.
Because I just felt like I was just dragging before, you know?
That and that's like, I applaud you for doing that because that is so tough to do. Like, in my movie right now, Trevor made this suggestion that would cut a scene and change
reorder some stuff,
and
yeah.
reorder some stuff, and it's so hard to like, because obviously you work hard on whatever you write, and it's hard to just like delete it
Yeah.
and like write something else because it's a risk because you don't know how it goes going to turn out, but.
It's also so liberating.
It is, because it's like, if you know it can be better, you just got to do it. You know what I mean?
You
and
just
that's-
gotta do
yeah.
it.
And
You gotta
I
pull
have
the
a
fucking
really hard
trigger.
time doing that. And like, it's like,
Because I was writing the short film for the concept for the movie, and the end, I just didn't like it. It was okay. And then I was like, you know what? Delete the whole ending scene, rewrite it. Oh, okay, well now I'm gonna have to add this, and so I'm gonna go back up here and add this, and then oh look, oh it's perfect.
exactly. If you just like,
You gotta bite the bullet.
if you submerge yourself in your world that you're creating, because you know anybody that's writing, I guess we're kind of going on the topic of writing now.
Yeah.
Like I know Ed really loves writing. That's
He
what he's
does,
been getting
yeah.
into lately. If you submerge yourself in your world that you're creating, that's the best way to do it. Like if you can just like imagine yourself there and like, oh man, like get into it and like this is what you're doing. Then you can make a story like, oh, wouldn't this be cool if this happened? Like, oh, well, we could use this, we could pull this, we could tie this in here. You know, it's like, it's so satisfying, like bringing it all together at the end of the day. You know, it's like,
It's
like-
honestly one of the best parts of film, even writing, just
Yeah.
in general.
it's so good because you can do literally anything.
Yeah, the possibilities are endless.
Exactly.
It's crazy.
And that's why it's such an outlet for us.
Yeah,
You know?
we get to do whatever we want. You know,
Exactly.
in these worlds, we get to create whatever fantasy, whatever we want to happen. You know,
And that's the satisfying part about being able to bring other people with you on, like when we show our movies and stuff, you know, it's like we get to like bring all these people with us. Like, well, I'm going to show you what I've created here, this story. And like it gives them like some entertainment, you know, and it's,
yeah, and it's also great when you like get to use what you already have. You know, because people say resource filmmaking, oh, it's oh, you can barely do anything if you just use what you have. But it's like, well, I can make characters that are literally built on the experiences and the traits that me and friends have, you know?
Mm-hmm.
And then through that, by basing characters on yourself or your friends, because you know them so well, you can build such infinitely complex characters. Like the Joker, stuff like that. Did you know that Todd Phillips actually wrote with Joaquin Phoenix in mind?
really,
And he wasn't even casted?
I did not know that.
Being able to do that is so liberating because then one, you know who's going to play it, and two, you know that they're going to be able to pull it off, and three, you just know the person.
Exactly. And that can also open up like new ideas for something to happen, you know, like,
Even if you're not playing someone though that like has like that has your own character traits, to know someone that has those character traits too,
For sure.
makes it easier.
Yeah. And a little tip for writing, and this is real common knowledge, but like the second I think of like the tiniest little thing will happen to me, and I'll write it down, and it's like, I don't know how I'm going to use this, but I want to use this because it's such a like.
I'm the exact same way.
This,
I'm like a
a
list of like quotes and scenes and stuff that I'm like, I don't know if I'm ever going to be able to use this, but these are genius.
Yeah, and it's like if you can start like, okay, for example, I had this experience the other day, and I want to incorporate this into Gorilla. But
I'm so excited.
So I was on the phone with somebody, and we were going to study for a test that we had the next day because it's a really hard class. And I didn't know that he was on speakerphone. And so I was talking to him, and I was like, all right, so we're going to go study over there. And he's like, yeah. And I was like, is Schmitty going to come along? And he's like, yeah. And then right as I said that, I was like breathing out as I said that. So I was like, is Schmitty going to come on? He's like, yeah. And I was like, so it sounded like a...
It sounded like you were like...
Yeah. And then I heard in the background, is that Jack? Yeah. And I was like... it sounded like such a douchebag. Like I probably just sounded like, I was like, oh. And so I don't know, like I want to use that in an episode of Gorilla, like where that happens and somebody's like, no, that's not what I meant.
It's like, no, I swear. It's like, oh really? Because it sounded like.
That's what it sounded like. So
that's really great.
So if you just like think of little things while on your daily.
Yeah, just even stuff like that actually happened to you might not seem interesting, but like you can manipulate them to make them interesting.
You can exaggerate them.
Yeah. I mean, that's basically the entirety of Gorilla. It's just us exaggerating
our actual experiences. Yeah, the entire first season, like most of those things have actually happened to us.
Yeah.
Also,
getting kicked out of places.
Yeah, we literally got kicked out in the episode for real.
Yeah.
But basically, yeah, and I think that's where the best inspiration comes, is when you're not sitting in front of the screen trying to think of something.
Right.
Is when you're just out and then you think of it just spontaneously. Write it down right then and there.
Maybe that's just us because we've been doing it for so long.
Yeah.
But
you got to be thinking about it.
Inspiration will come from many different places, Yeah. End of the podcast?
This is a great podcast.
This is a great podcast. Thank you guys so much for listening. My concurrent viewers, you guys are great. Listening to us on Anchor and Spotify and Apple Podcasts and Google Podcasts, you guys have been great. Don't forget to rate us on your streaming service of choice.
We're still open to donations.
We're still open to donations, guys. Anchor.fm/SSYTCT/support. You can donate $1, $5, even $10 a month to help us get some new equipment or something.
Yeah. Come on. We're doing this for you.
Yeah. New episodes every Friday. And honestly, we really are looking forward to some constructive comments, maybe some more hot takes that we can talk about in the future.
We are looking for your toxic criticism.
Yes. But don't forget to go check out Jack on
The Cheese Puffs, Storm Boomin', and Late Night Boomin'.
Everywhere.
On YouTube and Instagram. Check me out, Cole James and Anderson Visuals, YouTube, Twitter, and Instagram, for all those. And I also have a TikTok that I'm a little ashamed of, but guys, but go check it out.
Guys, I make TikToks now, and I'm not ashamed of it.
I'm not ashamed of it. Next episode, Cole's TikTok.
But yeah, thank you guys so much for. Wow, I'm gonna feel like shit now. Thank you guys so much for listening to our podcast. We will see you next week. Hopefully, we have a guest by episode 10. Ern, hopefully.
Let's go.
Yeah, we'll see you guys soon.
Peace! Thank you for listening to Small YouTube Channels Talk Podcast with Cole James Anderson and Jack Unruh. And don't forget, new episodes every Friday.